Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to Daily Current Affairs session. So before that, I want to tell few students were writing mails regarding the current affairs preparation. So briefly, I want to tell few things. So, sir, how to remember all these things or how to prepare all these revisions? So current affairs is a keep on increasing day by day, right? So you can do one thing, every week you are preparing for current affairs, either from our videos or from wherever, right? And then try to make a very short notes. Understand the issue. That means if you are discussing some, Post Office Amendment Act. So understand what is the issue, like what is the provisions they have made, what is the criticism. Just understand the issue here, and whatever the facts, there will be some sections or there will be certain provisions which are factual in nature rather than issue based. So make a very short notes. Whatever the week from Monday to Saturday you have prepared, try to make a short notes that within 2-3 pages you will get the factual data. You don't need to write all these what you call issue. You just make a short notes related to the facts or names associated with that particular article. So you will get around 2 to 3 pages. So every week if you could able to spend 1 to 2 hours in revising those things and making a short notes, you will get a compilation for every month. So whenever you have exam, you already understood the issue in the video, and then you can just quickly revise these facts as well. See, factual things and the names especially, or you need to revise them multiple times. Issue, if you understand once, right? So you will be able to remember forever. So this is how you need to make a short notes for every week, right? So this is just briefly to give you, because I got 2 to 3 mails of the same doubt. Okay, fine. Very good evening. Welcome to the session. So let's start with the first with the articles that we are going to discuss today. So these are all the articles that we are going to discuss today. First one, Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, PESA Act of 1996. So this is part of polity subject. So it is there in news. Fine. Then Indus Water Treaty, a very important one from international relations, right? International relations. Then Member of Parliament MP oath. This is again in news because recently the parliament members who are elected into the 18th Lok Sabha, they have started taking oath. So this is also very important. The facts related to it can be asked in the exam, right? This is also again from polity. Then Public Examination Act. You might have seen there is a lot of controversy going on with the NEET as well as NET exam and many more leak of papers, all those things. So there is no legal rule till now to punish those members. So that's why government has brought the Public Examination Act. So this is again part of, you can say, polity again, because it's a amendment, constitutional amendments. It is a legal acts, not constitutional amendment. Sorry. So the next one, Space Variable Objects Monitor, SVOM satellite. This is a satellite which is part of science and technology of China and French mission. We will see what is this, what is the objectives and all. Then green ammonia. This is part of environment. Then UNESCO Creative Cities Network. So this can be part of culture. Then Global FDI Trends Report 2023, very important from economics. We have a clear data now, India's rank, all those things. So these facts are very important to be remembered. You just need to mug up. Most of the contents are factual in nature. Of course, you know what is FDI and all. Fine. So this is part of economics. So these are all the articles that we are going to cover today. Apart from that, we will see some factual pointers and practice questions as well, right? So first article, that is Panchayat Extensions to Scheduled Area Act, PESA Act. So there was an article in the Hindu that implementation of this act has led to the increase in forest cover in India. Understand? Implementation of this act has led to increase in the forest cover in India, right? So this is the article about, we need to know about what actually is a PESA Act, then we will come to the context, right? So you all know that 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act has implemented the panchayats in India, and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act implemented the municipalities, right? So panchayats are those third tier or third level of governance structures. Like we have central government, then state governments, under it we have panchayats also. We have implemented it. But this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act is not applicable to the scheduled tribes areas, 5th schedule as well as 6th schedule tribal areas, because this act brought the uniformity across India. Eligibility to be part in the elections, reservation. There is a uniform act brought by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act across India. Earlier there was a lot of Panchayats Act. There is a difference in Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh. So different types or different mechanisms were there, but this act brought the uniformity. It has exempted scheduled areas and scheduled tribes because these areas, 5th schedule as well as 6th schedule areas in the constitution, they are having slightly different structure. Because of the local tribes, there is a lot of scheduled tribes, right? Scheduled castes as well. So local cultures are different. They are completely different from actually the mainstream of India. That's why this act did not, implemented or applicable to this 5th as well as 6th schedule areas. Right, 5th and 6th schedule areas were exempted from this act. Fine. So this, in this background, after few years, this 73rd, 74th Constitutional Amendment Act was brought in 1992. Right. After few years, the act itself has clearly mentioned that if government want to implement in the scheduled areas, in future Parliament can do it. Right. Parliament can extend it. This is the provision mentioned under this article itself. That's why after 4 years, from 1992, in 1996, government or parliament decided to extend these Panchayat Raj institutions to the 5th scheduled areas, right? So this Panchayat Extensions to Scheduled Areas Act 1996 was extended to implement in the 5th scheduled areas. 5th scheduled areas, okay? 5th scheduled areas were also this act implemented. So that is the objective of this act, just to extend it, right? All the communities mentioned in the 5th schedule. The aim is to implement the Panchayat Raj system in the scheduled areas. We have a number of states, around 10 to 13 states are there where scheduled areas are present. In all those areas, now this act extended the implementation of Panchayat Raj Act. This is the objective, understand, right? It covers all scheduled areas mentioned in the 5th schedule of Constitution. Whatever the 5th schedule, there are around 13 states, you can go through it. All these areas will be applicable with the Panchayat Raj Act, right? Now, what is these provisions? What is the provisions of PESA Act specifically mentioned to implement in the 5th schedule areas? That is also important. The main organization or entity which will take care of implementation of this act in schedule areas is Gram Sabha. Can anyone tell what is Gram Sabha? What is Gram Sabha? Gram Sabha means all the voters in that particular area. For example, there is a panchayat, any panchayat, right? Say for example, you can take one village which is having single panchayat. That means all the people who are having vote, right? Who are having vote should be mandatory. So whoever is having the vote in that particular panchayat, they're all together come at one place and they discuss the implementation of any new initiatives. So Gram Sabha is nothing but all the voters of that particular panchayats together are called as Gram Sabha, right? If you take the union or state governments, usually the MLAs will take care. They will discuss and they will implement it, right? People don't have much say, right? But in Gram Sabha, all the voters will come together. They will discuss what is the requirement. Then only it will be extended, right? So Gram Sabha in the scheduled areas, in those panchayats which are located in the scheduled areas, were given with the highest powers to implement. No other authority have such a dominant one. So central government, state government, they cannot completely involve. But Gram Sabha is the main entity which can take the decisions. So the planning and management of natural resources in scheduled areas, it is mostly of forests, right? Bamboo or tendu leaves, there's a lot of natural resources. they cannot be commercially exploited because outsiders, the businessmen, may come and exploit those resources. So without taking decision from the Gram Sabha, it will not be granted to explore the natural resources. So planning and management of natural resources will be taken care with the help of Gram Sabha, where all the people are included or involved, right? Approval of development plans, any development, if they want to bring some road, they need to destruct certain habitats, right? So if they want to bring buildings, there's requirement of lot of destruction of forest. So that will also be taken care by the Gram Sabha. Without Gram Sabha permission, they cannot implement it, right? Similarly, regulation of money lending, because the outsiders may also give money, because the tribes sometimes require urgent money and then they can take, and they will be dependent on those outsiders. So even taking the money, taking the loans from outsiders is also need to require permission from the Gram Sabha. So the tribal people will not become the slavery towards the outsiders, right? Resolution of disputes among those community people, whoever are any disputes, so it will also be taken care by the Gram Sabha. So all these powers were given to the Gram Sabha to implement, to take care of this in the scheduled areas, 5th scheduled areas, right? So this is about the PESA Act. Now coming to the context back. So what we have discussed in the context, that wherever the PESA Act was implemented, there the forest cover has increased, right? So this was discussed by the paper Representation on Forest Conservation, Evidence from India's Scheduled Areas. So this is a paper published, a single study paper published, and then that paper was discussed in the Hindu, right? So this says that they have collected the studies using the remote sensing. There is a lot of satellites, Landsat, Measure satellite from different, not only in India, the satellites which are being deployed from European Union and all. They have collected the data and they have differentiated the regions. Some region there will be scheduled tribes representation more, right? So usually the 33% reservation is given for women, and then according to the population in that panchayat, scheduled castes as well as scheduled tribes, about the percentage of their population, the reservation is given. But in tribal regions, there are more tribes, 90% of tribes are there. So the representation has to increase. Certain panchayats has implemented it, certain panchayats has not implemented it. So they have differentiated, they have studied in those panchayats where the ST representation was given more, and in some panchayats where the scheduled tribes representation was not given more. So they have differentiated the regions and then they collected the forest cover region. It was proved that wherever there is a scheduled tribes representation in those panchayats, there the forest cover has increased by 3%. So indirectly it is saying that if you are encouraging the local tribes, then forest cover increase because they see forest as their own gods. In earlier times we don't have God different forms, we are worshipping only the nature. So it means that if you are encouraging the representation of scheduled tribes, the forest cover is also increasing. So this is what one study has proved. Fine. And then positive effects were evident only in PESA elections, wherever this PESA Act was not completely implemented in all scheduled areas. There is still some hindrance, the local elections or the lack of women representation. Because of that, there is a discrepancy. Wherever PESA regulations were completely implemented in certain areas, those areas having a positive effects. So they have seen the positive effects in terms of the conservation, right? So forest stewardship, it means the forest leadership. We require economical things, right? We need to do agriculture, fine, to earn money, to earn our own food. So it is economically related as well. So this people who are implemented this PESA Act, they have seen this economical benefit interlinked with the environment. They did not commercially exploit all the resources. They have interlinked with the forest conservation. So if it is economic benefit and if it is affecting the environment negatively, they did not take such measure, right? Scheduled tribes, they did not take such measure. So that means they exploited forest only if it is not affecting the environment. So all these are the you can use a case study as well if you are writing any state PSC group 1 or UPSC exams. So you can write this as a case study as well. Of course, the PESA Act and all is relevant for any of our exams. Fine. So this is about the PESA Act. Yes, Madhukar, correct. It is all the voters in that panchayat. Fine. So this is about the PESA Act. So we have seen the actual Hindu article just mentioned about the benefits, what it has implemented, but we need to know about the PESA Act also, which schedule areas implemented, what is the entity which is taken responsibility to implement. All these facts you need to remember, right? So this is about the PESA Act. Next article, if you have any doubts, do let me know, else we'll move to the next article. That is Indus Water Treaty, a very, very important one at the international levels, that to our neighbor. We have signed this agreement along with the Pakistan, right? The context why it is there in news. It was signed way back in 1960, right? So this agreement was signed in 1960, but why it is there in news? Because this meeting keep on reviewing. For every 2 years, they keep discussing these things, right? So the context is, this is also taken from the Hindu. The delegation from India and Pakistan on Monday, that is yesterday, they have came to Kishtwar in Jammu Kashmir to monitor the any ongoing projects. There are some ongoing hydro projects, right? There are certain Indus water system. We will discuss about this agreement, you will understand. So just to monitor the projects ongoing along with these rivers, these delegations has come. Pakistan delegation also has come to our India, right? So this is the context. The delegation has come to oversee the Indus Water Treaty, whether it is implemented fully or not. That is the context. Now, what is this Indus Water Treaty? You all know in geography, right? These are the Indus water system, just briefly to understand. So this is the Indus River, which origins in China. Even Satluj River also origin in China. Rest of all the things origin in India itself. So this is Indus water, Indus River, right? And then we have Satluj River. This is the Satluj River finally joining the Indus. And then we have Jhelum, right, which joins the Chenab. This is the Chenab, which ultimately joins into the Satluj, and then Satluj joins into the Indus, right? Similarly, we have Ravi River and then Beas River. So this you might be aware about the geography. This is the Indus water system, right? So these rivers, the water from these river systems has gone, mainly be used by India as well as Pakistan. 99% of water is used by India and Pakistan. So there may be a dispute, right? We are in the upper stream. That means only if we release this water, it may reach to the Pakistan. If we construct all these dams across these commercial dams, so Pakistan may not receive any water, right? So ethically it is incorrect. Maybe legally yes, we can use, but ethically this is not correct. That's why two countries came together and they have signed an agreement, right? How to use these river systems. So that agreement is called as the Indus Water Treaty. So it is nothing but it is a treaty signed between India and Pakistan to utilize the waters of Indus river system. So this is the treaty. Now, when it was signed and who was the mediator, that is also important. It was signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan. No other country is involved, only India and Pakistan, right? And then it plans to distribute the river water, the 5 or 6 rivers water, distribute between the India and Pakistan. And the World Bank was the mediator, because without mediator the agreements may not succeed. We may not follow or Pakistan may not follow, so there should be a mediator. And the World Bank has acted as a mediator between the two countries, right? And according to this treaty signed between India and Pakistan, all the west rivers means Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. These three, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, Ravi is not there. These 3 rivers were given for the Pakistan to use, right? So these 3 rivers were given to Pakistan, and then Satluj, Beas and Ravi River. So these 3 rivers, the eastern rivers, right? That is the western rivers, this is the eastern rivers. These 3 rivers was given for India, so they can commercially exploit the rivers, right? So this east rivers for India, you need to remember Satluj, Beas and Ravi are for India, and for Pakistan, Jhelum, Chenab and Indus. So those 3 rivers are for Pakistan. However, we can also use these rivers, Indus, Chenab and Jhelum, the water from these 3 rivers also India can also use, but for particularly agriculture or for drinking purposes, that's all, not for commercial exploitation, unlike these 3 rivers, right? We can also use this river because we are in the upper stream, but just for agriculture and for basic drinking water consumption. So this is the agreement about, right? So the same thing we have seen. Now the delegation, the 85 member delegation, the delegation has visited the 85 megawatt Rattle hydroelectric power project. So this is in the Chenab, this is on the Chenab river. So Chenab river was given to whom? Pakistan. Fine. So that's why Pakistan is skeptical that India may exploit the commercially, but it is just run-off river project. That means we are not constructing any dam. Rather, from flow of river itself, we are not storing any water. From the flow of water itself, we are using for the basic purposes. So they want to check it, right? So they may ask you in the exam, Rattle hydroelectric power project is located on which river, they may ask, right? So this is located in the Chenab river in Jammu Kashmir, in Kishtwar district of Jammu Kashmir. So this is all facts that you need to remember. See, this is what in the beginning I told you, how to make a short notes. You understand Indus water treaty, who are involved, what is the purpose and all. Then these small facts you need to make a short notes and then revise. So these are all called as the facts. Similarly, they also want to check Pakaldul hydroelectric project. Pakaldul hydroelectric project. This is located on the Marusdar river. Marusdar is a tributary of Chenab. So this is not directly located on the Chenab, rather it is located on the Marsudar, which is a tributary of Chenab, right? So these two facts were mentioned in the Hindu newspaper, so you need to remember these two hydroelectric projects along with the Indus water treaty. Fine. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? If you have, please do let me know. Fine. Let's move to the next article, a very important article from Polity. Member of Parliament oath. Member of Parliament oath. Recently, the new Lok Sabha was constituted. You all know that elections has happened and the members were elected. Fine. This is the 18th Lok Sabha. Now, all the members, MLAs who are, MPs, if it is MLAs at the state level, yes, they do have to take the oath. So all the MPs who are elected newly has to take the oath. Without taking oath, they cannot participate in the parliament proceedings or the Lok Sabha proceedings, right? So there was a good article about the process, what are all the elements included in this. Fine. So this is the context. Now, what is oath ceremony? We have seen, yesterday only we have discussed about the pro tem speaker, right? Pro tem speaker we have discussed yesterday. If you have attended the session, you might be aware about it. So this is the person, senior most usually, as appointed as a temporary speaker to take care of the oath. So all the MPs has to take care oath in front of the speaker, right? So for that purpose, pro tem speaker will be appointed by the president. You can see that president is being appointing the pro tem speaker at the Lok Sabha. So his name is Mahtab. Bhartrahari Mahtab was the pro tem speaker of this particular year. So they may ask you this also in the exam. If you are writing RRB railways or SSC, CGL or any SSC JE exams, so they will ask you who is also the pro tem speaker for 18th Lok Sabha. Bhartrahari Mahtab was the one, right? So this was appointed by president. This pro tem speaker was appointed by president under Article 95 Provision 1. So this is also may be asked in the exams, all right? So he will be presiding over the Lok Sabha House, will take care of the oath of all the MPs, right? So this is the oath ceremony. Now, what is the significance of this parliamentary oath? Why all the MPs in Lok Sabha has to take oath? What is the necessary? The necessary derives from the Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution itself clearly mentioned without taking the oath, the members cannot be participate in the discussion, they cannot vote, right? So that's why this oath taking ceremony is a mandatory one, mandated by the Constitution itself, right? So just winning the election and starting their term will not make the person eligible to vote or discuss in the parliament or Lok Sabha, right? They must take the oath according to the Article 99, a very, very important one to be remembered. So they may ask you in the exam, the MPs in Lok Sabha has to take oath mandated by which article of the Constitution? That is Article 99, a very important one to be remembered. So if they don't take oath, so they maybe there 1 or 2 days they may not able to attend the session, and silently if they forgot also, right? If they forgot or intentionally if they don't take any oath and participate in the Lok Sabha discussions, if they come to the Lok Sabha and discusses and then vote and speaker also could not able to recognize, right? If that has happened, for every such sitting, 500 rupees penalty will be levied on the person. So without taking oath, no person can participate in the Lok Sabha business, right, in discussion or asking questions, whatever may be. So it will be penalized with 500 rupees per session, right? So this is the significance why Parliament oath is mandatory. Fine. Now, what is the process for it? They may ask you the questions in the process also sometimes, right? So the oath text of Constitution is mentioned in the 3rd schedule of the Indian Constitution. A very, very important one. MLA's oath, taking the what type of oath, the small letters will be there that they will take oath, is mentioned in which schedule of Indian Constitution? That also may be asked in the exam. That is 3rd schedule. Alright. So they will take oath by promising that they will adhere to the constitutional provisions, because the Constitution is the most important thing for our polity, Indian polity, right? Without Constitution there may be a chaos. So they promise that we will adhere to the values of the Constitution. So that is mentioned in the 3rd schedule of Indian Constitution, right? So before participating or before taking the oath, they need to put or they need to provide the election certificate that they have won in the election. Whatever the name mentioned in the election certificate, they have to take oath only on that particular name, right? So they have to submit this copy of election certificate from Election Commission of India before to the Lok Sabha staff before taking the oath. So this is the first step. They need to give the election certificate. After that, they can take oath in any of the languages, either English or the languages mentioned in the 8th schedule. In 8th schedule, we have 22 languages. 8th schedule of Indian Constitution, we have 22 languages. So Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Odia, so we have 22 languages. They can take oath in any of the 22 languages or English also. Fine. So this is what allowed. Other than that, they cannot take oath. For example, Rajasthani is not mentioned in the 22 languages of 8th schedule. So nobody can take their oath in Rajasthani. Either they have to take in Hindi or English, right? Or whatever language is mentioned in 22 languages of 8th schedule, right? And then they have to adhere to the name. So you might have seen Chandra Shekhar will be taking oath, something like that, whatever the person. So they have to adhere to that name mentioned in the election certificate. Whatever the name mentioned in the election certificate, so they have to take oath only on that particular name. This is also one important condition, right? So, and what about the MPs in jail? There are 2-3 people who have been elected, but they are in jail currently, from Punjab or from Jammu Kashmir. You might have followed, right? There are 2-3 MPs who were elected and they are in jail, right? What about such people? And there is one more provision in the Constitution that if, or not Constitution, it is in the Parliament rules, that if a person is not attending the Lok Sabha continuously for 60 days, for 60 days, if the person is not attending the Lok Sabha continuously, then the seat of that particular MP will become vacant. So new elections will be called. So that's why it is mandatory for the person at least once they need to attend the session in the 60 days, right? But the MP is already in jail. How can this particular person come and attend this? So for that purpose, the courts has many times said that this person who is in jail, who is MP and who is in jail, can come and take oath, right? So can take oath for avoiding any penalty. So the jail attenders or the whatever the supervisors, they can allow the person to attend the Lok Sabha and then take oath. Or even it said that a person on behalf of president or the speaker can also visit the jail and then take oath as well, right? So it was exempted for those who are in jail. Fine. So these are all about the oath taking ceremony. Any doubts in this? Ranjan, if the person is not able to attend that particular session, he can take later. After 30 days, 40 days, again the speaker, whoever is already there. Now pro tem speaker is giving the oath. But later, the actual new speaker who was appointed or elected, he will or she will take the oath. So even if that is not attending, I mean if that particular person is not attending on that particular day, later whenever he is attending the session, they can take the oath, right? But without taking the oath, they cannot participate in the Lok Sabha discussions or voting. Fine. So that is the fact. So we have discussed all this process. Just understand the process and then remember the facts, the articles. So you will forget after reading now, like after 2-3 days, you may forget about the articles. That's what I'm telling at the beginning of this session, that you need to make a short notes every week about the facts. So you can just put a heading as Parliament oath and then articles, facts, whatever may be there. Like first the pro tem speaker of 18th Lok Sabha, and the article which is giving pro tem speaker authority, and then article which is giving the mandatory of oath. All these facts you can just make a short notes, right? So that's how you need to cover the current affairs. Next one, about the Public Examinations Act. About the Public Examination Act. So you might have seen that there's a lot of controversy going on with related to the NEET and many other exams, especially in the state level also, state PSCs. Since many years there's leakage of paper, right? You can see the recently last year Telangana papers, the Group 1 examination has conducted the 3rd time. So this is such issues were there, and there is no act, there is no law since the beginning of our independence till date. Recently it was passed, now it came into the implementation. Till now there is no act or there is no law to punish any person who are involved in the cheating and all. It is just some rules and regulations are there, but there is no specific law, right, to punish those persons who are involved in the leakage of papers, all these discrepancies in the examination. That's why now government has brought the new act, the parliament has brought the new act, Public Examination Act, right, 2024, to punish those persons who are involved in the cheating, right? So this is what the context is. This has came into the implementation from June 21st, right? Yeah. So now let's see what are the provisions and all, what is the objective, what is the provisions and all, right? So this is passed by the parliament and came into the implementation from June 21st after publishing in the Gazette. So this is the implementation part. And what is the aim? You can easily guess. The aim is to reduce the unfair or to prevent the unfair means in the passing the examination. So there is a lot of allegations that certain people are getting or giving money and then taking data, and then they were able to enter into the government service, right, with all these discrepancies. So the aim is to prevent such people to involve in this corruption related examinations, right? So that is the objective, and this is the first act in the India to bring related to the unfair practices in the examination. There is no such law in India till now. So this is the first time that they have brought such type of act. So this is also one important fact to be remembered. And in under the section 3 of this particular act, the examination, Public Examination Act, under section 3 there are total 15 actions they have mentioned. This will be important for us. Total 15 types of actions are mentioned. You don't need to remember all these 15. Just understand this. Just remember that there are total 15 such discrepancies covering question paper leak, tampering, right, or unauthorized access to the question papers. So total 15 types of what you call unfair means are mentioned, right? Now it applies to what examination? They may ask you this also. For what examinations this act will apply? This act will apply to all the government bodies which are conducting the examination, like UPSC, SSC, National Testing Agency, and other specific organizations as well. So whatever the government organizations which are having authority to conduct the examination, all these provisions will be applicable to this organization. Similarly, there are also certain ministries conducting the examination, departments and ministries also conducting the examination. So this is also applicable to the government ministries and departments. All right. Now what is the fine? This is also important for us. This is also important for us. What fine is deployed or imposed on the persons? See, this cheating can happen from the person who is writing the examination, or from the other person who is involved in the question paper making, or maybe government officials who are involved in transferring the papers. So there is a lot of members who are involved, who can involve in this cheating. So this different sections of this particular act mentions different types of punishment. Section 10(1) under the Public Examination Act, person who is committing the offense, who is directly involved in this offense. For example, I am a student who is preparing, and then I have got some cheating, right, with the cheats, all those things. So I am the one who will be penalized. So this whoever is committing the offence will be subjected to 3 to 5 years of imprisonment in jail, or fine up to 10 lakhs, or both. It can be either this one or both, right? So based on the severity. Then comes section 10(2), the service provider. That means whoever is conducting the examination. So if you are writing any examination, you might have seen that you need to attend to certain computer center, right, for writing the examination. So those are called as the service providers who are giving this examination in a digital format. So 4-year ban will be there on those particular service providers in this examination. Along with that, 1 crore rupees will be imposed as a penalty, right? So this is also one more measure or punishment. Section 10(3), director, senior management person in charge in service provider, the senior most one, whoever is taking care. If this person seems to be involved, the senior most director or senior management, then it can be up to 3 to 4 years. This is for organization. This is for organization. Service provider means an organization. This is for individual within that organization who are involved. For them, 3 to 10 years of imprisonment or up to 1 crore penalty. Section 11(1), persons involved in organized crime. There may be organized crime also, like separate entity or organization they have maintained illegally, and then paper leaking and all will be taken in this particular premises. So they will be imprisoned up to 5 to 10 years or fine of up to 1 crore. And then section 11(2), institutions involved in organized crime. This is persons, these are institutions. They are attachment and forfeit of their property. Whatever the property of those institutions will be taken by the government, and whatever the cost involved in this exam, conducting of this exam, will also be imposed on these institutions. So these are the punishments given in this particular Public Examination Act, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? Okay. Let's move to the next article, that is Space Variable Objects Monitor, SVOM. They may directly ask you this name, and who has launched all these things may be asked in the exam. Space Variable Objects Monitor, all right? This is the satellite name. This is nothing but the satellite. This is nothing but the satellite, right? So this is a satellite jointly developed by China and France. This is the most important fact. You may confuse, so if you don't read this article and if you see in the options, you may confuse why China will or why France will collaborate with China, right? So both are two different ideologies, like France is a democratic and China is a communist. But yes, they have collaborated for the first time. For the first time in the space, they have collaborated and launched this satellite, right? SVOM. And this was launched from the rocket Xinjiang, a satellite launching center located in the Sichuan province. So they have launched this satellite from this rocket center in China. So it was launched from China, right? It is not from France, rather it is launched from China, right? So let's see about the details related to this particular satellite. This satellite weighs 930 kgs, jointly developed by China and France. We have already discussed. And now, what is the objective of this? Why they have launched this satellite? That is the most important for us. The aim of this satellite is to study the gamma ray bursts. So you might be aware that we have an electromagnetic spectrum, right? We have radio waves, visible rays, ultraviolet rays, gamma rays, X-rays, right? So this satellite aims to study the gamma ray outbursts. That means way back, few years back or few billions of years back, there is a emergence of universe and all, and then universe is getting expanded. We have galaxies, we have stars, we have planets, we have moons, right? So all these things can be known by studying the gamma ray outburst. That means if there is any breakage of star, every star will have certain span. Even sun is a star, and after some million of years, even sun may collapse, right? We never know. So certain stars keep on destroying, like keep on outbursting, and from those breakage or outbursts of those stars or any space bodies, the gamma rays are emitted, right? Gamma rays are emitted from those outbursts. So if you could be able to observe those gamma rays which are coming from those outbursts of the stars or whatever space bodies, we can know about the age of those stars, we can know about the evolution of universe, everything related to the space can be known, right? Gamma rays give such information. So that gamma rays wants to be studied by this particular satellite. That is the objective, right? So from they can study about the black holes, right? They can study about the gravitational waves. Many of those space events can be studied by studying the gamma rays outburst. So that is the objective of this satellite, right? And this is the first ever Chinese and French satellite. Fine. Mission objectives we have already seen. The aim is to detect the study of gamma ray outbursts across the universe. So through that electromagnetic spectrum, they can understand what has happened, how the universe has evolved and all, right? So this is the objective. And payloads. Payloads means instruments. Payloads means, remember, instruments used in the satellite. Whatever the instruments that are kept in the satellite are called as payloads. So there are two telescopes named Eclairs and MXT telescopes, which were developed by France. And then there are two more telescopes, GRB telescope, right, and then visible telescope, VT telescope. This was developed by China. So two telescopes were developed by China and two telescopes were developed by France, right? So that is about the article or the satellite. Any doubts in this? So you just need to know who has launched this, what is the objective, and what are gamma ray outbursts, right? So only these things will be sufficient. Next one, green ammonia. Green ammonia. You all know the formula of ammonia, right? NH3. Fine. Now, to develop this ammonia, we require nitrogen, right? We require nitrogen. Also, we require hydrogen. Hydrogen, right? So to develop ammonia, we require nitrogen as well as hydrogen. And why we require ammonia? Ammonia have number of applications. Let's see applications first, and then we will come back to the context. So why we are developing ammonia? Because it is used in fertilizers. Ammonia used in the fertilizers in the agriculture. It is used as a fuel also in ships and then trucks. It is also used as a fuels, right? It is also used as a energy storage. We can also store energy using ammonia. Industrial feedstocks, so it can also be given as a feedstocks. That means in generating certain power and all, they can use as a industrial feedstocks as well. So these are all the applications of the ammonia. Fine. Now that's why we require, we need to generate the ammonia, that is NH3. In that process we require nitrogen. Nitrogen is usually collected from atmosphere, because nitrogen is the highest composition in our atmosphere gases, right? 70%, more than 70% of our atmosphere consists of nitrogen itself, followed by oxygen, right? So nitrogen is collected from the atmosphere, and this hydrogen is collected from the fossil fuels like coal or whatever the fossil fuels that are coming from under the earth. So because of this process, CO2 is emitted. In the process of collecting the hydrogen, fossil fuels, burning of fossil fuels and all, CO2 is emitted, right? CO2 is being emitted from this process, which is a greenhouse gas effect, which is a greenhouse gas that may lead to increase in temperature in the Earth's surface, right? So that's why now we don't want to generate ammonia, rather we are moving towards promoting the generating the green ammonia, green NH3. Now we are producing hydrogen in a normal manner, like from fossil fuels, and the nitrogen is taken from atmosphere. All this lead into the ammonia production, but because of that CO2 is being emitted, which is a climate change effect, which has a climate change effect. That's why now we are moving towards the green ammonia, right? So you might be aware that we have already launched the green hydrogen mission. So this, we are producing ammonia by using nitrogen as well as hydrogen from the fossil fuels. So if we could able to connect this green ammonia to the green hydrogen mission, that means the hydrogen produced not by fossil fuels, rather through the green method, that is climate friendly method, right? So what is green hydrogen? We are producing green hydrogen. Don't confuse here. Green ammonia and green hydrogen are two different things. Hydrogen is an input to the ammonia, not ammonia is input to the green hydrogen. So we are trying to involve green hydrogen in the green ammonia, right? So green hydrogen is produced through electrolysis process by sending H2O. We have discussed in many of the articles. So water is sent into that, and then oxygen is released. Process is called as green hydrogen method. Now this green hydrogen, if we could able to replace the hydrogen which is collected from fossil fuels, if this green hydrogen is involved in the ammonia production, then yes, that is called as the green ammonia. Right? So this is the process. Just to revise the things, ammonia is required for various applications. For that purpose, we are generating using nitrogen and hydrogen, but this hydrogen is a fossil fuel based till now. Now we have already launched the green hydrogen mission, so that's why if we could able to use green hydrogen producing ammonia, then ammonia will lead to the green ammonia. Right? So this is the mechanism. Now the context is there is a site program. We will see this site program under green hydrogen mission. Strategic intervention for green hydrogen transition program. So site program is a sub program under green hydrogen mission, right? So under green hydrogen mission we have launched this, and what is the objective? To boost the domestic production of green hydrogen. That means through electrolysis process without any fossil fuels and all, we are producing the hydrogen, that is called as the green hydrogen, right, through electrolyzers. So this is the subcomponent under green hydrogen mission. Fine. The total cost that was kept for this project is 17,490 crores. 17,490 crores are allocated to this particular project, right? And what is the aim of this program? The aim is to generate 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen by 2030. So this is the objective of the mission. Very, very important to remember. At least this number you need to remember. 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen is the aim of this project, right? Is this clear? So this type of complex mechanisms you need to understand. If you just keep mugging up the facts, how can you remember in the exam? You won't be able to remember. I'm sure, because I've faced these things in the initial attempts as well. So you cannot mug up everything. You just need to understand the mechanism, then try to mug up. You will be able to remember, right? So this is the green hydrogen mission which government has launched. This is the issue with most of the students. They keep mugging up all these things, but in the end they will confuse in the exam and they won't be able to choose the correct answer, right? So 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen will be produced through green hydrogen mission. That is one objective. Then 60 to 100 gigawatts of electrolyzer capacity. Electrolyzer is the one which enables by taking water and then leaving O2, capturing the hydrogen. So 60 to 100 gigawatts of electrolyzer capacity will be promoted through this green hydrogen mission. 5 million metric tons of emissions will be averted. That means CO2 will be removed because we are generating the green hydrogen. Then 1 lakh crore imports. We are dependent on a lot of fossil fuels and our coal and all. So if you could able to generate green hydrogen, 1 lakh crore imports will be saved. 125 gigawatts of green hydrogen generation will be promoted. Finally, 8 lakh crore investments will be encouraged. So these are the features of green hydrogen mission. These numbers are all very, very important. Don't confuse in the exam, right? So remember these numbers about the objectives of green hydrogen mission. Fine. Now green ammonia, we have already discussed this. Nothing but we will generate. Usually ammonia is generated through Haber-Bosch process. So this is also important in the in our exam. So we have already discussed. We will be taking nitrogen and then hydrogen from natural gas, that is fossil fuels. Natural gas is from a fossil fuel itself, right? So in this process we are taking hydrogen from fossil fuels, right, natural gas, and then nitrogen. So this is called as the Haber-Bosch process. Now this Haber-Bosch process, we are replacing, the mechanism is same. We are just replacing the hydrogen here, not from natural gas or fossil fuel, rather it is from the electrolysis of water. That's all. So this is called as the green ammonia. Fine. So we have seen the applications also. Any doubts in this? Any doubts? Do let me know if there is any complexity. Don't mug up the things. Please do understand the issue, right? You can pause video or even after the session you can comment in the comment section, so I'll be replying it, right, if you don't understand anything. Next article, UNESCO Creative Cities Network. A very simple article, very factual article. Kerala, the context is Kerala is celebrating the Kozhikode's recognition as UNESCO City of Literature. So this Kozhikode has recognized under UNESCO City of Literature. So for what purpose Kozhikode was recognized? For literature purpose. There is a good literature in this particular region, so it was recognized under UNESCO Creative Cities Network. Right? Now what is this UNESCO Creative Cities Network? This is nothing but to encourage, to recognize the creativity in different cities around the world. Each city will have different creative networks. So one city may be famous for food, one city may be famous for music. So we have a different purposes are there. To encourage those cities, the UNESCO has launched the Creative Cities Network. Creative Cities Network was launched by UNESCO to encourage the cities, right, to develop themselves for certain particular purposes. Right? Now it is categorized, it is recognized with the 7 categories. This is also important. They may ask you, UNESCO Creative Network recognize how many types of fields? There are 7 total. Crafts and folk art, design, film, gastronomy means food related thing. Like Hyderabad is having gastronomy recognition, literature, media arts and music. So total 7 categories are there. Fine. Now we already have certain cities from India. Under crafts and folk art, there are two cities, Jaipur recognized in 2015 and Srinagar in 2021. Under film category, only one city is there, that is Mumbai, which is famous for Bollywood. Right? Gastronomy, we have Hyderabad recognized in 2019, and literature, this is the most recognition one, that is Kozhikode 2023. Right? And then music, we have highest number of cities, that is Chennai, Gwalior, Varanasi. So Gwalior has got the 2023, Chennai has got in 2017 and Varanasi in 2015. So all are facts, you just need to mug up the things. Again, the last article for today, that is about the FDI data. FDI data. Global FDI Trend Report 2023 was released by UNCTAD, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So they may ask you this also in the exam, who's released the report. Fine. So this is about the report. Now let's know about the details, the important facts from that particular report. You have to mug up this as well, right? So overall, FDI fell by 2% compared to the last previous year, 2022. So FDI means foreign domestic investment. The foreign countries' companies will come to those countries and then they invest, right? That is called as the FDI. So overall, 2% dip was seen in this FDI across the world. This is one important fact, right? FDI in developing countries like India and all was declined by 7%. Overall in the world 2%, but in developing countries specifically 7% decline was seen, right? In developing Asia, that means in India is also part of Asia, there is a declination of 8%, right? Approximately 621 billions was recognized. And FDI flows in China, India has also declined, right? So this is the overall data. Now specific to India, India has occupied 15th rank. India has occupied, yes, 15th rank. Last year it was 8th. Top, India was in 8th position in receiving the FDI. But this year it is 15th rank. Alright. So it was declined from $49 billion to $28 billion. Approximately half was reduced. Right. This is because of Middle East war, all those things and all. Anyway, so you just need to remember that this year India's FDI is $28 billion. Last year $49 billion, 2022, right? And India has occupied 15th rank. Last year 2022 it was 8th rank, right? India has ranked 4th in the greenfield projects. Greenfield means the new projects. Brownfield means already existing project, there is a more investment. So the new projects itself, for new projects India is occupying a good rank, that is 4th rank, right? For new projects. Overall it is 15th. Fine. And yes, India FDI flows increased. So outflows, that means the Indian companies investing in other countries, right? This rank we have improved, that is 20th position. In 2022 it is 23rd, right? This year it is 20. That means we are giving more FDI to other countries, right? So these are all the details about it. The top 10 countries, you can remember the top 3 countries, FDI receiving countries. United States, is the largest country which receives the FDI. Largest FDI it receives, followed by China and then Singapore. So top 3 countries you need to remember, and India is $28 billion. Fine. So all these facts you need to remember. Very factual in nature, you just need to remember the things. Factual pointers, we have 3-4 factual pointers. Srija Akula has become the first Indian to win the World Table Tennis Contender Singles title. So you just need to remember the name, right? Srija Akula. She is associated with the table tennis, that you need to remember. And then she became the first Indian to win the World Table Tennis Contender Singles title, right? So this fact you need to remember. Next one, first of its kind skin bank has been launched by Indian Army Hospital in New Delhi. So skin bank means which can harvest the skin artificially and then use it for the patients, right? So this was for the first time launched in the Army Hospital in which city? New Delhi. Next one, Ambabuchi Mela. It is a festival, it is a Mela, it is a festival being celebrated in the Kamakhya temple of Assam. Kamakhya is a feminine deity, god, which is worshipped in the Assam region, right? Not only Assam region, some other northeast region as well. So Kamakhya temple is one of the 52 Shakti Pitas in India. Fine. So Ambabuchi Mela is celebrated in Assam in Kamakhya temple. You need to remember it is located in the Nilachal hills. So in which hills they are located is also important. And total 52 Shakti shrines are there. It is one of the temple. Fine. Now Russia has approved the new draft agreement, reciprocal exchange of logistic agreement between India and Russia. So they may ask you this, with which country India is associated with the reciprocal exchange of logistics agreement, that is India and Russia. So just to share the information and assist each other in the ships and all. Fine. So that is of today's facts. Any doubts in this? Let's solve quickly the questions for today's session. First one, consider the following statements regarding Indus Water Treaty. This is one of the previous questions, right, in SSC. So they may ask you this as well. So I have combined some facts and then made some statements. Indus Water Treaty was brokered by World Bank and signed between India, Pakistan and China. So this is the first statement. First statement. Second statement, it was signed in 1971 after Indo-Pakistan War. So this is the second statement. Third statement, according to the treaty, the eastern rivers, Satluj, Beas and Ravi are allocated to India and the western rivers are allocated to Pakistan. So what are all the statements are correct? Anyone? First statement, if you look into the first statement, it is not involved with the China. So this is a wrong. Only India, Pakistan are involved. Second one, it is also wrong. It was signed in 1960, not after 1971 war. So second statement is also wrong. Third statement is correct. Western rivers went to the Pakistan and eastern rivers for India. So answer is B. Yes, Ranjan, Nandana, Santosh, Malini. 3 of you have answered it as correct. Next one, which of the following statements regarding UNESCO Creative Cities Network is correct? So they have given 4 statements, out of it incorrect. They are asking the incorrect statement. This was created in 2004 to promote cooperation among cities that have identified creativity as a strategic factor for urban development. So this is the first statement. The network covers 7 creative fields: crafts, folk art, media art, film design, gastronomy, literature and music. So this is the second statement. Mumbai is recognized as UNESCO Creative City for film. So this is the third. And last one, UCC and cities must have a population of at least 1 million to be eligible for the designation. So they have kept the condition that there should be 1 million people population in the city. So which one is incorrect? First one is correct. So this we may not have discussed. You need to remember 2004 to recognize the urban. Yes, total 7 fields are there. Second is also correct. Mumbai is also recognized with the film. So all 3 are correct, and there is no such condition as any cities can be recognized. Yes, Ranjan, correct. So answer is D. Next one, consider the following statements regarding Space Variable Objects Monitor (SVOM) mission or satellite. This satellite is the first astronomy satellite jointly developed by China and France. Correct, Malini. Second is D. The primary objective is to detect and study the neutrinos. So this is the second statement. First one is correct, China and France. Second is neutrinos, wrong. So answer is A for third question. Fourth question, where is Ratil Hydroelectric Power Project located? Ratil, we have seen. Zeelam River, Srinagar, Chenab River, Kishatwar district, Bias River, Manali, Sutlej River, Shimla. Yes, Santosh, Nandana, Ranjan, both of you are correct for third question. Fourth question, we have seen direct fact. This is Chenab River in Kishatwar district. Last question, correct, Malini. 3 of you are correct. Last question for today. PESA Act applies to which of the following areas? Urban municipal corporations, all rural areas in India, scheduled areas as defined by 5th schedule of Indian Constitution, scheduled areas as defined by 6th schedule of Indian Constitution. Yes, fourth is B, correct. Ranjan, Malini. Last question for today. So which areas? So this is not applicable to all rural areas or urban areas. You may confuse between 5th schedule or 6th schedule. So this is not the 6th schedule. 6th schedule we have 4 states, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. It is not applicable. It is for extension of 5th schedule areas. So 5 is C. Answer is C. Okay. So this is all for today's session. I hope it was useful. Have a great evening. Thank you.